Great. Before we finish, so today we understand a little bit. Today is our day 144. 144, and the title: Your brain learns what you repeat. Your brain learns what you repeat. Fix these words of mine in your heart and mind. The verse comes from Deuteronomy 11:18. Fix these words of mine in your heart, in your mind. God, help me to repeat what brings life. Help me to repeat what brings life. And we talked a lot about our brain learning and being repetitive. And I just want to emphasize this a little bit more today. Repeated thoughts and words gradually shape emotional default. And I know we talked about, your brain learns what it repeats, and we continue to. But when we think about our words and how they gradually shape emotional defaults, because the ultimate goal is to keep that balance between emotions and intelligence. And when emotions high, intelligence low. And when intelligence high, emotions low. But we won't want to be at either of the extremes. We want to kind of be in the middle. And so the more that we repeat the things that we put into our mind, the better it shapes our emotional defaults, that then we don't jump to from 0 to 100 unless absolutely needed. Like if our life is threatened, that emotion needs to be there. But we just don't have this emotional roller coaster that goes up and down and up and down. And I think that just lends ourselves to being a little bit more stable, which allows us to respond in ways that are, I don't know if they're just unique or they're just respond in ways that, if they're the defaults, it's where we want to be. So when something jumps at you, somebody says something, you don't get road rage because somebody cuts you off, right? Because, we think of, well, there must be something going on in their life. What can I do? How can I find out why they are hurting? We look at hurting people. I'm drinking some tea here. We think about why hurting people hurt people. One of the biggest things is it's because there's something going on in their emotional roller coaster. And sometimes we try to match somebody else's emotion because it just sets us off the wrong way. And I've been noticing that when you think of like fights that come out, or people that get upset about things, or just wanting to hurt others, is because we jump on that same emotional roller coaster that they're on, and then we try to match their emotion. And so by repeating the things and what we say and what brings in life, that we keep getting better at regulating that. So someone who repeatedly rehearses gratitude begins noticing good throughout the day. When you think about today, and somebody asked me yesterday, I was in the event yesterday, there was a session where two of the speakers yesterday decided to cancel right at the last minute. They decided like, hey, we have everything set. We get up in the morning. We send a message, hey, we don't see you. And one person said, oh, I'm not going to be able to make it today because of unforeseen health challenges. And I get that things happen, and maybe she woke up sick, and it was amazing that we had to process and text her before she responded and said she wasn't coming. The other person said that a plane had switched and the flight had moved to an earlier time so they could get word, so they would be up in the air and wouldn't be able to attend during their session. Either way, I could have taken that, oh, what am I going to do? And freaked out and couldn't figure out a solution to it with the emotions that would go through. Oh no, is my whole, event now going to be ruined? And of course, obviously not. I mean, there's 18 other speakers that did phenomenally well and were incredibly good and made the day fantastic. And what I did is I took that time that those other two were speaking, because it was fortunate there's there. I just created my own lesson, and I created my own, time, half hour block in order to speak. One of the things that I did during that time is I talked about this exact thing that we do every morning. I said, what is changing in your life that is making it such a great time of your life in the history of all the years that you've been doing? And I said, part of it is doing this every single day with you, getting up every single morning and going through the steps that we're going through. Having a routine that says, I am breathing, I am grateful, now we're doing our stillness and clarity. And realizing that this is one of these defaults that has set my emotions that, the first thing I said when it was so cool. The first thing that went in my mind when they said when I got the emails that said that they weren't going to speak was, everything works out for me because I direct my thoughts. Everything works out for me because I refuse drift and distractions. Everything works out for me because that is the person that I have become. Those were the very first thoughts that went into my mind because we've been practicing it now for 143 days, and today will be 144 days. So I've become more aware over the years that repetition is so powerful. Whatever I consistently repeat, fear, gratitude, negativity, truth, peace, eventually shapes how I experience life. And I think about our affirmations, and I think about our declaration that we do, and I think about, I will walk in the favor of God I can add today, in my events and the things that I do. Because in my mind and stress stress became my emotional default. But when I intentionally started repeating scripture, gratitude, and truth, my thinking slowly shifted. It didn't happen instantly, but repetition changed my emotional atmosphere over time. And yesterday was a great example how it does. And so the way that our mind truly works, and I believe it, the brain strengthens repeated neural activity through reinforcement, learning. Frequency repeated thoughts become more neurologically efficient. Those dendrites and the things that are in our brain actually start to build and become bigger, the ones that we want to, than the ones that are small that we don't access as much. Now I would ask you, what are your big dendrites today? Well, if you've been doing this with me for the last 144 days, I know exactly what time. Meaning the brain accesses them more automatically over time. Repetition shapes emotional habits. Our heart connection today is your repeated thoughts become familiar emotional pathways. What have you been mentally rehearsing lately? What have you been mentally rehearsing lately between the time that we do this in the morning and the time you go to bed at night? What other things have you been rehearsing lately? So repeat one truth-filled scripture throughout your day today. And it can be the one that we did today. Fix these words of mine in your hearts and mind. So easy, fix these words of mine in your hearts and mind. God is asking us and commanding us to do that. The short prayer is, Lord, help me repeat what strengthens peace and truth. Help me repeat what strengthens peace and truth, because we could also rehearse what strengthens guilt and shame. And if we do that, then we're going down the right path. Because remember, you're going to repeat something. Let's make sure we're repeating what creates truth and pain. And may truth become more familiar to your mind each day. The questions for today: why is repetition so powerful mentally? What thoughts do people rehearse more often? And how can repetition change emotional habits? So I didn't even have a yes answer in today. Today I just asked you, what repetition is so powerful mentally? Is it your affirmations? Is it your prayer? Is it your scriptures? Which one of those for you is representative? I just do them all, because if they're all in there, then I know one of them works. I'm not going to try to figure out which one works best. I'm just going to make sure that I have part of them all, why we do this every single morning. So cool. The devotion. Oh my gosh, what a good devotion to think through your repetitive thoughts and what you think on a daily basis. So as we move into our gratitude.